I always thought when my son said, "I got this," he really meant it. I didn't realize until last week that what he really meant was, "I got this stuff for you to clean up again." For context, I'm a 56-year-old single father. My wife passed when my son, Liam, was 9. I've done everything I could for him. Worked 2 jobs, skipped vacations, never upgraded my car, just so I could save up in case he needed help. And he needed help a lot. When he turned 21, Liam racked up some credit card debt. I didn't judge. I paid it off. Then there was a car loan he defaulted on at 23. Again, I helped. I figured that's what parents do. But it didn't stop. 3 years ago, I told him point blank, "Liam, I'm not your safety net anymore. You need to figure things out." And he smiled like he got it, like he finally understood. "I got this, Dad." That's what he said. Fast forward to last week. It was a Thursday night. I was just finishing dinner when Liam showed up unannounced. He didn't even knock, just opened the door, same as he always did. I was happy to see him until I noticed he wasn't smiling. His hands were shaking. "Dad, I need to tell you something." I thought it was going to be something about work or maybe a breakup. But he sat down and said, "I'm in trouble. A lot of trouble." Turns out, for the last 3 years, he's been taking out personal loans. One after another. Payday loans, credit cards, even borrowing from friends. And now, he's in over $100,000 of debt. $100,000. I felt like my brain shut off. I just stared at him. All those years I thought I'd been teaching him to stand on his own. And here he was, worse off than ever. When I asked him how this happened, he shrugged. I thought I could handle it. You know the worst part? The absolute worst part? After everything I'd already done for him, after all the times I saved him, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you'd helped me before, I wouldn't be in this mess." I laughed. It wasn't a funny laugh. More like, hollow. He blamed me. At that moment, I didn't even feel angry. Just tired. Like my soul was wrung out like an old dish towel. That's when my daughter stepped in. See, I have a daughter too, Sophie. She's 30, married, 2 kids, works as a nurse. Sophie's always been the opposite of Liam. Responsible, grounded. She happened to call right then, and when I told her what was happening, she said she was coming over. Within 20 minutes, Sophie was standing in my kitchen, arms crossed. "Liam," she said calmly, "Dad is not your bank. Not anymore. You can't keep doing this." And for the first time, Liam actually looked ashamed. But it didn't last long. "I just thought," he started, voice cracking. Sophie didn't let him finish. "No, you've thought enough." Later that night, Sophie stayed after Liam left. I told her I felt like a failure. She shook her head. "You did what you could, Dad. You're not responsible for his choices." I posted this here because honestly, I don't know if I should help Liam again. My heart says yes. My bank account says no. My sanity says absolutely not. So, am I the asshole for saying no this time? For letting him figure it out on his own even if it ruins him? That's where I'm stuck. I'm his dad, but I'm also a man who's tired of being the life raft for someone who doesn't want to swim. The house felt quieter after Liam left that night, but not in a peaceful way. It was the kind of quiet that made you hear things you didn't want to hear, like the hum of the fridge, the ticking clock, the echo of your own mistakes. Sophie sat with me at the kitchen table long after. Her tea went cold, but she didn't seem to notice. "Dad, you really can't keep doing this," she said softly. "I know. But do you? I mean, really?" I looked at her then. My daughter, me steady one. The one who never asked for anything more than a ride home from soccer practice when she was a kid. She'd worked her way through nursing school without borrowing a dime from me. And now she was married to a good man, raising 2 smart, sweet kids. Meanwhile, Liam couldn't make it 3 years without blowing up his life. "What am I supposed to do?" I asked. "Just let him drown." Sophie reached across the table and put her hand over mine. Her fingers were warm, steady. Like her. "Maybe he needs to drown a little before he learns to swim." That phrase stuck with me the whole night. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Liam's face. Pale, desperate, blaming me like I was the villain in his story. The next morning, there was a knock at the door. For a brief second, I thought it might be Liam again. But it was someone else entirely. A man in a Navy suit. Mid-30s. He introduced himself as Marcus. Said he was from a collections agency. That's how bad it was. Liam hadn't just maxed out credit cards or borrowed from sketchy payday lenders, defaulted hard enough that they were now looking for his family. I didn't let Marcus inside. I just stood in the doorway, my hands tightening on the doorframe. He doesn't live here anymore, I told him. Marcus nodded like he'd heard that before. Understandable. Just doing my job, sir. Before he left, though, he handed me a piece of paper. On it, a list of debts tied to Liam's name. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. $108,472.67. That was the total, spread across 7 creditors, not counting whatever friends or private lenders he'd probably tapped. By noon, Sophie called again. I told her about Marcus. Dad, you really need to set boundaries, she said. And that's when she offered something I never expected. Do you want me to help talk to him? Like an intervention or something? I hesitated. Part of me felt ashamed it had come to that. But another part? Relieved. Yeah, I said. I think we should. So that Sunday we set it up. We told Liam to come over. Sophie brought her husband, Tom, too, not because we needed backup, but because Tom had been through something similar with his own brother years ago. When Liam arrived, he immediately knew something was up. His eyes flicked from me to Sophie to Tom, like he was looking for an exit route. What's this? He asked, forcing a laugh. We need to talk, I said. Sit down. He didn't sit. He just leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Defensive already. Sophie didn't waste time. Liam, this isn't just about you owing money. This is about the fact that you keep turning to Dad like he's the only solution to your problems. And it's not fair. He scoffed. You think I want to be like this? You think I enjoy asking for help? Tom stepped in next. Calm. Measured. Liam, man, I get it. My brother was in the same hole. Drugs, debt, lying. But the only thing that helped him was when we stopped bailing him out. Liam's jaw tightened. I could see Itha's pride fighting with his fear. You don't know me, he snapped at Tom. No, I don't, Tom agreed. But I know the pattern. I finally stood up too. My voice wasn't loud. I didn't have the energy to be loud anymore. Liam, I love you. But this is the last time we're having this conversation. He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. I can't help you this time. I won't. His face crumpled. Not in anger. In something closer to heartbreak. Dad, please. It physically hurt to hear that. But I stayed firm. I have to let you figure this out. There was a long silence. The kind that feels like it stretches miles. And then Liam did something I didn't expect. He started crying. Really crying. Not just angry tears, but the kind that shakes your whole body. I screwed up, he admitted. I really screwed up. Sophie stepped forward then. She didn't hug him, but she softened a little. Liam, there are people who can help. Debt counselors. Bankruptcy lawyers. You need to start making calls. I don't know how, he whispered. And that's when the twist hit me. Maybe he really didn't. Maybe I'd spent so long cleaning up after him that he never learned how to clean up for himself. So I offered one thing. I'll sit with you while you make the first call, I said. That's all. Liam nodded slowly. And that's how it started. Not with me writing another check, but with Liam making the scariest phone call of his life. We spent the rest of the afternoon calling debt counselors. Sophie stayed the whole time. Tom too. It felt weird, like some kind of family team exercise, except instead of building something, we were dismantling a mess. By the end of the day, Liam had an appointment set up for the following week. When he left that night, he hugged me. Not a quick, casual hug like before. A real one. I'm sorry, Dad, he said. For what? For everything. It wasn't a fix. His debt wasn't magically gone. But for the first time in years, it felt like maybe things could get better. Later that night, Sophie texted me. You did the right thing. I stared at that message for a long time before answering. I hope so. Now it's been a few days since that Sunday. Liam's kept his appointment. He's working on a debt management plan now. And I'm learning something too. That loving someone doesn't always mean saving them. Sometimes it means stepping back and letting them save themselves. That's what I wanted to share here. Not just to ask if I was the asshole, but to tell anyone else out there who might be in my shoes. You're not alone. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't holding on. It's letting go. The first real test came 3 weeks later. Sunday afternoon, again, same old quiet house. Same mug of coffee growing cold in my hand. I'd gotten used to silence by now, but I wasn't sure if I liked it. Silence meant I wasn't chasing after Liam's next crisis, sure. But silence also left room for thoughts. That's when my phone buzzed. Liam. For a second, my stomach flipped the way it always did before. But I made myself answer. Hey, I said carefully. Hey, Dad. His voice was different. Not panicked. Tired, but steady. Just calling to check in. That was new. We talked for 15 minutes. About nothing important. Weather, football scores, how Sophie's kids were doing. He didn't ask for money. He didn't even bring up debt. And when he hung up, he said, "Love you, Dad." Like it wasn't some huge effort. I sat there a while, just holding my phone, letting that moment settle. Later that night, Sophie came by. No emergency this time, just bringing over some homemade soup. "Figured you might want something warm," she said, setting the container on my counter. We sat at the table again, same as always. "You talked to Liam lately?" she asked. "Yeah, this afternoon." Her eyebrows rose slightly. "And no ask for help. Just checked in." Sophie smiled. "That's something." We ate in comfortable silence. For the first time in months, I actually tasted the food instead of just shoveling it in. Halfway through her bowl, Sophie set her spoon down. "Can I ask you something honest?" "Always." "Do you resent him?" "Liam, I mean." I thought about it. Really thought. I used to, I admitted. Not all the time. But there were nights I'd lie awake wondering why he couldn't just get it together like you did. Why everything was so hard for him. Sophie nodded slowly. "You know, he probably wondered the same thing." "What do you mean?" She shrugged. "Some people just aren't built like us. Like me. I always knew what I wanted. Liam never did. And maybe that's not his fault." I let that sit for a minute before answering. "Maybe not," I said. "But it's still his responsibility now." Sophie agreed. That night after she left, I found myself digging through an old box in the closet. Photos, school awards, birthday cards from years ago. There was one from Liam when he was about 13. Handwritten in messy, crooked letters. "Happy birthday, Dad. Thanks for always helping me with stuff. I promise I'll pay you back someday." I held that card in my hand for a long time. The next week brought another surprise. I was sitting in the backyard, trimming the hedge, when I heard a car pull up. Liam again. But this time, he wasn't alone. He stepped out of the car, followed by a woman I didn't recognize. Early 30s maybe. Dark hair, simple jeans, and a hoodie. "Dad," Liam said, "this is Camila." Camila held out her hand. "Hi, Mr. Harlow. I've heard a lot about you." I shook her hand, confused but polite. "Nice to meet you." Liam glanced at Camila, then back at me. "She's been helping me." Turns out, Camila was a counselor at the debt relief center Liam had gone to. Not just that, she volunteered with a group that helped people with financial literacy. Budgeting, saving, getting back on track. And somehow, through all of this, Liam had connected with her beyond the professional stuff. Later, over coffee, Liam explained. "She kind of helped me see things differently," he admitted. "Not just about money. About everything." I didn't push. Didn't ask if they were dating or just friends. It didn't matter. What mattered was Liam finally had someone outside the family keeping him grounded. Over the next month, things kept changing. Slowly, Liam found a part-time job, not glamorous, just stocking shelves at a local grocery store. But it was honest work. He started sending me texts now and then, small things. A photo of a sandwich he made. A funny sign he saw. It felt normal. And I realized I wasn't holding my breath anymore. One night, I was cleaning out my inbox and found all the old bank transfers I'd sent Liam over the years. Thousands and thousands of dollars. I stared at the numbers on the screen and felt something weird. Not regret, exactly. But closure. I clicked delete. Around that same time, Sophie invited everyone over for dinner. Tom grilled in the backyard while Sophie wrangled the kids. Liam showed up late, but brought Camila with him this time, formally introducing her as his girlfriend. I watched my son hold a plate in one hand, Camila's hand in the other, laughing at one of Tom's terrible dad jokes. That's when Sophie came over and nudged me. "See," she said, "told you it'd turn around." I didn't say anything right away, just took another sip of my drink, looking around at my family. "I guess you were right," I said finally. Later that night, after everyone left, I sat down and wrote out my own little post. For the same community where I'd shared my story weeks before. Update. Son confesses he's in six-figure debt after years I covered for him, and he told me, "I got this." A few weeks back, I posted about my son Liam. How I'd bailed him out for years and finally had to say no when he came to me with 6 figures of debt. I wanted to share where things stand now because maybe someone else out there needs to hear this. Liam's not debt-free yet. Not by a long shot. But he's working on it. For real this time. He's got a job, a plan, a girlfriend who keeps him accountable. And me? I'm learning that saying no doesn't make me a bad father. It makes me a better one. Thank you to everyone who gave advice, support, or even just listened. Sometimes the hardest part of love is letting go. But sometimes, letting go is the only way someone learns to stand up. That's where things stand now. I closed my laptop after posting that and leaned back in my chair, feeling a little lighter. And for the first time in a long time, I slept through the night. No knocks at the door. No middle of the night calls. Just quiet. The good kind this time. 2 years later, things didn't just get better, they settled into something close to peace. I didn't expect that. I always thought there'd be some grand finish line, some final call where Liam said, "I'm debt-free, Dad," and we'd celebrate. But that wasn't how life worked. Real changes are quieter, slower. Liam still carried debt, but now it was organized, structured. He'd worked out payment plans with every creditor. He even sent me screenshots, sometimes not asking for money, just showing me his progress. And then, one Sunday afternoon, because everything important in my family seems to happen on Sunday, she came by with Camila again. But this time, they weren't alone. Camila was holding a small white envelope. "Dad," Liam said, "we've got something to tell you." Camila smiled, her hand resting lightly on Liam's arm. "We're engaged," she said. I didn't cry, not at first. But after they left, after the hugs and congratulations and Camila showing Sophie the ring, I sat alone in my kitchen and let a few tears come. Happy ones this time. Because here's the thing I learned. When you raise someone, when you pour everything into them for years, there's no guarantee it'll turn out the way you hope. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes a rock-bottom moment, or 2, or 3. But there's always a chance. And I almost missed it because I was too tired, too heartbroken, too wrapped up in my own idea of what Liam's life should look like. Letting go was the hardest thing I ever did. But letting go didn't mean giving up. It meant standing back far enough to let him stand up on his own. At their wedding 6 months later, I gave a speech. I kept it simple. I've always told my kids, you don't have to do things the easy way, but you do have to do them the honest way. Liam's taken the long road, but he made it here today, and I couldn't be prouder. People clapped. Camila wiped at her eyes. Liam hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. And now? Now my house is quieter again, but in the good way. Liam and Camila live across town in a small apartment. Sophie visits on Sundays, bringing her kids over for dinner. Sometimes I babysit. And sometimes, late at night, I sit on the porch with a coffee and think about that first night Liam walked through my door shaking, asking for help. I think about how close I came to either enabling him forever or cutting him off completely. Both would have been mistakes. Because love isn't black and white. It's showing up, setting boundaries, leaving the porch light on but not dragging someone through the door. So to anyone reading this, if you're in the same spot I was, wondering if you're the asshole for finally saying no, you're not. Sometimes saying no is the biggest yes you'll ever give someone. A yes to growing up. A yes to figuring it out. A yes to finally standing on their own 2 feet. And that's the story of how I learned to be a father. By letting my son stop being a child. Thank you for listening. And good luck, wherever you are in your own story.